She is the chair of the Business and Information Technology program at St. Clair College. As well, though, Rose has been an active member of the Crown Ward Education Championship Committee and is actually the co-chair of this committee. Rose, without further ado.
Thank you very much, Linda. Good afternoon, everyone. How's everybody today? Good. Okay, kudos to all of you. Look at it outside, and you're here. Okay, so kudos. Thank you for being here. We're really happy that you're here. As Linda said, as Linda said, we're here for you today. And there may only be 5 of us here from St. Clair College, but behind us there are dozens and dozens and dozens of people that are there to help you. And we're here for you to put a face and a name together so that when you're walking into St. Clair College, you already have some friends and you already know where you might go to get some help. We've noticed with students that there's 2 times in their educational career when sometimes they meet those bumps in the road. One time is when they move from grade 8 to grade 9, and then the other time is when they go from grade 12 to either college or university. We have 2 very important representatives from the Student Representative Council, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and their role because I don't want to get that wrong. They're going to talk about all the fun stuff that happens at the college. We also have Jerry. Jerry comes from our Learning Commons area, and she's going to talk about all the good things that are there to support you when you go to college. And then, really, really important, because she's going to talk about financial aid, and we know that money is always a concern for our students. We have Angela.
Typically, I'm the director of clubs. So a lot of the programs each have their own specific club. So my public relations program, we have like the Club of Public Relations. And it's almost like its own little student body within your program. I'm telling you guys right now, it is the best way to be successful. I have created a wonderful network of people. We call each other in the middle of the night when we have assignments. We're there for a lot of things, but then there's also some fun social aspects to it as well. So we held a couple of fundraisers this year. We went to Buffalo Wild Wings. We did like Eat Wings, raise funds. So we earn money that way. Sometimes there's bake sales on campus. There's hot dog sales on campus. We do a lot of different things, but SRC, what our job is to make sure that you guys are running your club efficiently and effectively, and we also help you plan those events so you can fundraise money. You can use that money that your club is raising for, you can go either to a different conference. So being in public relations, my big thing this year is that we're trying to raise money so that I can take our students in our program to a conference, and hopefully we can learn more about the profession we're looking to enter in. We're going to network a little bit because that's very important for our success.
The next thing we want to talk about is student health insurance. This is huge. We offer you guys health insurance when you pay for your tuition. It's already included in there. Some of the things that are offered with it is 90% of all prescriptions are paid. While we're on the prescription notes, if you need to get a prescription, instead of having to go all the way to the clinic, we actually have a nurse practitioner on campus who actually do that for you. So you don't even have to go to the clinic. Hey, if you hurt yourself or something, or if you're not feeling good, we have a nurse's station right at the main lobby, right across from security. Nurse's station's right there. Utilize that. I can't stress that enough. A few of the essays a while ago said tuition's too high. We need to talk about this. So with CSA, they brought it to CSA, and CSA went to the government and said, government, what can we do? Like, tuition's high. So the government, along with OSAP, has created a program called the 30% off tuition program. I highly suggest applying to that. If you need housing, once again, this is another come into the office and we'll have a chat. We have our residents, of course, on campus, which is right there. Residence is nice, and we work along with residents. We actually have a director of residence, and basically they work with the Res Council to make sure residents' voice is heard within the SRC, because not only, there's sometimes we don't know what's going on, and then students are kind of upset and they go, oh, I didn't know this was going on, and we didn't know. So we put a director of residence in there, so now we're more connected to residents. So if any of you guys are going into residence, talk to her. Her name is Chelsea.
It's really awesome.
As you can see that Miranda and Colin they wear their shirts proudly because they believe in what they do. And you're excellent ambassadors for our students. And you can see how friendly and timid and shy our college students are, toolers. But you can also see the commitment there. You know, one of the things that I noticed when I came to the college, it's like being in your own little city. You know, you can shop, you can get your hair done, you can get your nails done, you can get your teeth cleaned. If you have a dog, you can walk it. And you can go for a swim, and what else? You can get your immunization
You can go to the
shots.
gym,
You can go to
work
nurse.
out.
You don't even have to leave the building. You know. So it's pretty. I'm telling you, it's a pretty cool place. The more you get involved, the better the experience will be. I can tell you, if I was able to go back and do my high school days again and my university days, I would get involved, because I didn't. I went to school and I came home. Once in a while I played cards, euchre. That's where I learned how to play euchre.
So I can totally relate to a new student walking into those doors. So we're located in room 206. We're Student Services, the Learning Commons. There we provide personal adjustment to school types of strategies, coaching, guidance. We can help you if you've chosen a program, maybe not quite fitting with what you want to do. We work at, you know, being involved with students with learning strategies as well. So say, you know, when you move from high school to college, it's a pretty big change. You're responsible for your own learning then, right? So what we found is in high school it's very directed, and it's, you know, you have the same courses every day. When you get to college, your schedule is kind of all over the place, so that's a big adjustment. You know, when you're in high school, you review every day. That's up to you as students to do. So part of what we do in the counseling department is try to teach you those strategies. We have workshops. We have stress and relaxation workshops. There are 4 counselors at the South Campus, 2 at the Thames Campus, and we do travel down to the St. Clair Center of the Arts. So if you're at the Mediaplex or downtown, we will also go and visit you there. Another role that I have is part of accessibility services. So if any student has been identified in high school as having an individual education plan and require supports, academic supports above and beyond, then you would come and meet with us and talk about that. Also, tutoring is in our area. Tutoring is free, and you have to apply for it. You don't have to be failing to apply for a tutor. Maybe you just want to get better grades. You know, maybe you have a B and you want to get an A. 4.0, you want a scholarship. The tutors are great.
So what documentation is OSAP looking for?
If it is a learning disability, it has to be a psychoeducational assessment, a full assessment, that's 5 years current. So if you were assessed in kindergarten, grade 1, 2, or 3, it's likely outdated. We would still provide you with temporary accommodations, but we would work at trying to get you an updated assessment. Why we do that is, if you take a look at your full documentation, it talks about exceptionality on there and not disability. When you move into the post-secondary field, you're an adult, it has to declare you have to have a diagnosed disability in order to qualify for some of the things that are OSAP and accommodations. So it changes. Your IEP doesn't follow you there. So a lot of times what we run into is old documentation, and I'll tell you, sometimes it's valuable to the student most times, because then you can understand it and you can read it, and the psychologist will go over it with you. Helps you learn at the college. You learn about your strengths and what's going to work for you. Helps us provide accommodation for you. Do you need technology? Do you need extra time on tests? Do you know, those types of things? How do I learn best here? So it's really important to have that done. If it's an ADHD, ADD, we require a medical documentation, and if I'm a psychiatrist, that would be best. Any physical disability, just something documenting that, but it has to be current.
Well, what I want to tell you is I get students in my office and I say to them, okay, what's going on? And they tell me. And I'll ask them about what was going on in high school and what was going on in grade school, right? And I'll say, well, did you get help in high school? And did you get help in grade school? And the answer oftentimes was yes. And I said, well, what did you do when you got to college? Well, miss, I wanted a fresh start. I didn't want anyone to know. And while that is very noble and very courageous, you don't have to be that courageous, and you don't have to be that noble, because that's what we're here for. So yes, you may want a fresh start and you don't want anyone to know that you struggled, but there's no shame in having a struggle in school. You know, some of us are really good at laying tile floors or building houses. Some of us are good at painting pictures. Some of us are good at writing stories. We all have our own talents. So when you come to the college, don't feel that you have to make a fresh start. If you were getting help in secondary school and in elementary school, then take advantage of the help. What happens is sometimes students start and they think they can do it by themselves, right? And then the first set of marks come in and they're not good. And then the second set of marks come in and they're even worse. And then the downward spiral starts. Because you know, if you ever get a test back and it's a D or an F, you don't do the happy dance. You're not doodling after that, right? You're pretty upset. We have a little saying in our school, talk before you walk. We care about you. That's why we have jobs. It's because of you. You're like our customers, right? And we're all about customer satisfaction. So don't feel that you're out there by yourself. We're there for you. And if you need assistance, the minute you start struggling, say something. Okay, and get the help that you need. So this is Angela. She works in the registrar's office, and she is, I believe, a financial aid officer.
Yep. So if you're in grade 12 now and you have grades that are 70 and above, you may be eligible for the entrance award. It's the top 6 senior level courses at the college or university level, and if it's over 70, you could be eligible for $500. So that money would go towards your tuition. They have $2,000 ones per school for the top male and top female with 80 and over. So that's one opportunity. There's something called the tuition bursary. I don't know if you had a chance to apply when you were a student.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go on stclaircollege.ca in October, and the tuition bursary and the general scholarship goes up. You apply for both of them to be considered for both of them, okay? The general scholarship is anything from the Founders Foundation office handles anything from companies that want to give money to the school for students that are either in a specific program, have strong volunteerism, anything like that. They have a meeting about that, and you would be invited to an award banquet in February to be eligible for that. And the money amounts vary for that, so that's an opportunity. So if you're involved in the varsity sports, you could be eligible for $1,250 per semester. If you're in a fall sport, you would get a check for that amount in January, but there is some, you have to have good standing academically, so you have to have a 2.0 GPA and without any failed classes to get that money, just by being on the team. And everybody on the teams would get that amount. External scholarships, maybe your guidance counselors are involved with you now. There's studentawards.com. There is scholarshipscanada.com. The bulletin board outside the financial aid office, if I get anything in the mail from different awards, I post it up there. We have the Aboriginal PSET bursary in January and the First Generation bursary. First Generation bursary is something that you would apply for if you're the first in your family to attend college or post-secondary. You often have to write an essay regarding the struggles that may have been encountered as a result. Most students that require help with their finances apply for OSAP. I would suggest that you do that just because you could get grants as well as loans when you apply for this. They look at the financial resources of the family and the student. So your income as the applicant will be recorded on there, as well as parental income if applied. And they look at all kinds of grants. Maintaining 60% course load. I wanted to talk to you about that. You have to maintain full-time course loads in order to maintain your eligibility for OSAP. They do monitor the academic progress. I know that someone was asking about being on academic probation. It doesn't always prevent you from receiving funding, but you do have to come in and write a letter and explain, for example, if you withdrew, to be eligible for future years. There's also appeal basis on an individual case, so we would look at that as well. We are looking at, the lady that brought up the point about getting the money to the students before school starts. If you apply now, your chances of getting your money before on the first day of school is likely, because you have to have a completed application. So if there's any problems with your application, we need to get that all rectified. If you wait until orientation week to apply for it, don't expect to get your money the first week. It does take time to transfer money from the National Student Loan to the bank accounts, so apply early, and that would help you be more successful. You talked about the 30% off Ontario tuition grant, also part of the OSAP application. He may have applied for it separately. There's a separate application if you just wanted to do grant, but it's also part of the full-time application. So if you want to be considered for all grants, full-time application. This year, it's $410 per semester for the college, and it's $820 for, maximum for the academic year at the college level. If you're applying to the university, it's $890 per semester, and a maximum of $1780 for that year. So if you're in a 3-semester program, you just get the 2 semesters worth. The Ontario Access Grant for Crown Wards is included in the OSAP application. There's a question on there to identify yourself. So you would have to say, one of the questions is, have you ever been a Crown Ward? You would have to indicate yes on that. And there is a verification of status with Children's Aid Society form. Living and Learning Grant. There was a continued care and support youth allowance that you would receive at a certain point. Some students receive that at 18, I believe, is that true? Okay. What this Living and Learning Grant does is it targets individuals that are 21 to 24 years of age, and it provides $500 per month to a maximum of $6,000 for the academic year. And basically, you have to identify on the application about the Crown Ward status. This paperwork has to be filled out and submitted to our office, and we look at the eligibility for the Living and Learning Grant as well, part of the OSAP. Work study, you may want to look at working opportunities at the college. For example, Griff's, Tim Hortons, the Campus for Kids, the aquatics, they hire lifeguards, and these are different opportunities to make money to help subsidize your education.
And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that too. There isn't a day, actually no, that's a lie. There isn't a week that goes by that an employer in town, sorry Colin, that an employer in town doesn't call me and say, we're hiring and I would like a reference from you, okay? Honest, every single week someone calls me. Someone called me the other day, they wanted 6 IT people, 6, and they wanted references. They did not want to go through the entire process of putting it out there, then getting 200 interviews going, resumes and interviews and all that. So you need to think about that. And the reason I bring that up is that myself and the faculty, we make recommendations all the time. But we will not recommend someone that we don't think will do a good job, because then that's our reputation. So from the minute you walk into the college, from the minute you meet your first teacher, from the minute you meet your first classroom, from the minute you meet your first chair, you are going to make an impression, right? Like when I walked in the door and then I came to the front, I bet you made your mind up about me in about 3 seconds, right? It's human nature. But you have semesters and semesters and semesters worth of time to spend with your faculty, to spend with your chair. So sometimes when we come into classes, people have kind of attitudes, right? Well, we pick up on those attitudes real quick. The way you sit, the way you stand, the way you dress, that all matters. So I say that because it's really important to get a job after you're done. That's our job. Our job is to help you get the skills you need to get a job, right? So remember that. You're always being watched. The people are always, no matter who you meet, even in a coffee shop. Miranda talked about networking, right? 9 out of 10 jobs that are out there, people get through networking. Someone knew somebody who knew somebody, or you met someone. So just remember that you're always making an impression. Yes, young man?
How'd you get your job?
That's very interesting. Do you want to hear?
Question.
That's an excellent question. Let me tell you a little bit, because I'm pretty old. I could probably be your mom. But I started working over 30 years ago as a teacher, okay? And I taught for 18 years, which is probably your whole life. How sad is that? And then I tootled along, and I got another job. I became something called a consultant, and I learned all about computers. And then I tootled along again, and they asked me where I was working to be a person who ran the IT department. Okay, and again, that job came about because of my work when I was a consultant. My consultant job came about because of my work as a teacher. There are always choices. There are always things to do. Okay? So number one, if you don't remember anything of what I say, remember what I did say, talk before you walk. Okay? If you happen to get a probation letter, and this is how you get a probation letter. So you come to college for the first semester, it's September, October, November, beginning of December, right? And let's say, see, we give marks, right? And we give levels. And we do something called a GPA. And a perfect GPA is a 4.0, okay? And you have to have a 2.0, which equates to a number, during your entire career at the college, or you cannot graduate. And then you'll have to go back and upgrade some of your courses. So your goal is to stay at a 2.0, aim for that 2.0 every semester, okay? You don't have to be an A student. You don't have to be even a B student. If you're a solid C student, that's good. If you're a D student, either you have to work harder or you need some help, okay? So, yes?
But isn't, I don't know what you guys call it at the college, but the ultrasound technician program, doesn't it have to be higher than
Yes,
1.2?
you're right, and thank you for pointing that out. If you are in the health sciences, you know what, I'm coming from my school. If you are in the health sciences and nursing, they have much higher standards because of the critical nature of that course. So I don't want to give you false information. So if you are in the health sciences and the nursing, then you need to talk to them, okay? But as far as probation and dismissal, and there are other programs, it's like that. Yes, young man?
Even like engineering is 2.0?
I'm pretty sure engineering is 2.0, but I'm not sure. You're from engineering.
I can speak on both of those.
Okay.
I'm in an engineering program, so it still is a 2.0. With nursing, I don't know what their GPA requirement is, but I know for all their classes you have to have a 60% to pass. So instead of a 50, you need a 60. And that's for all the health science programs. Like she said, Rose said, the main reason they do that is because the critical care and it's really competitive program. So they need to have higher limit. So
Right. So you know what, if you're a struggling student, at least aim for that 60, okay? So the first time you have a semester like that, you get a letter at home and it says you're on probation. That's kind of like a warning. That's kind of like a yellow light that says something's not working here. Okay, so that's the first time that you should seek help, if you haven't already. Then let's say another semester comes by, and let's say in that semester you get an F in one of your courses. And then your GPA falls again lower than 2.0. Then you're going to get another letter, and the letter's probably going to say you're dismissed. Hopefully the letter says you're on first dismissal, but sometimes things happen and you just get a letter that says you're dismissed. Again, the world has not ended, but what you do need to do then is you need to go and talk to someone. We're going to talk about who you go to talk to. Then let's say it happens a second time. So you had probation, then you had first dismissal. We give you another chance. We give you a second dismissal. And that's when you have to come and see the chairs. Okay, and we talk to you about how can we help? What's going on? Are there too many things going on in your life? Are you not understanding the course content? Are you not coming to school? What is it? Okay, is there too much on your plate? And we try and figure that out. And then unfortunately, if it happens a fourth time, that is a third dismissal. Now third dismissals are a little bit nasty because sometimes after third dismissals, the policy says that you are released from the college for 2 years. 2 years is a long, long time. So, depending on your program, that's the school you will belong to. Inside of that school, there is one of me. Okay, so we have a chair. That would be like your old principal, okay? Then each one of your programs has a coordinator. And it's really important for you to get to know your coordinator because your coordinator will help you with anything that is going on within your program that maybe you don't like, or maybe you've come from another college and you want to transfer, or maybe you want to go to another college, maybe you're struggling, they will help you with one of those. Okay, so it's really important to know your coordinators. And then of course, every one of your classes, we call our teachers faculty. And we address them by professor. So up to now, you guys call them teachers, or you call them miss, or you call them sir, and that's still good. But we do call our teachers professors, all right? And then we also have part-time people who teach for us, and they're called instructors. So when you have a problem in the classroom, who do you go to? Who's the first person you think you might go to? Who's that? Your professor. So if you have a problem in a classroom, the first person you need to speak to is the professor. Okay, after the professor, let's say you didn't get the answer that you needed, or you need a little bit extra, who would you go to? Your program coordinator. So you need to get to know your program coordinators. Now, let's say the problem's really serious, or you're on a dismissal. Then who are you going to go see? The chair. And remember what Colin said about being involved? It's the same thing in the classroom. The more you participate, the more you get involved, the more you do, the more you're going to learn the concept and bring it home. Okay, so again, very easy formula. So if you look at what I have up there, number 1, attendance and punctuality. Some of our classes do start at 8 o'clock, which I'm telling you now, it sucks. But when I look at schedules for our programs, I try to make it a nice mix so that you might have one class that starts at 8, but you don't have 4 classes that start at 8. And our day school goes from 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. So your classes can be anywhere in there. Any classes at 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock are in continuing education, which is a different department, but you can do both. So be at school, be punctual, engage. So participate in class, and I love the kids that sit at the front of the class. Because if you're at the front of the class, it means you want to be there and you're going to pay extra special attention. When you're a mile away, it's really easy to disengage. Okay? Being ready for class, purchase your textbook. And I know that is going to be a struggle for some students. Okay? But there's options. I didn't say this, but there's always Kijiji and other things. You know, there's not just the bookstore. There's friends. You can get together and share a book if you need. There's e-books online sometimes that are cheaper. And then there's also the bookstore, and the bookstore also has used books. And after you're done with your books, you can sell the used books. Okay? So there are options. I cannot be a carpenter without a hammer. You can't be a student without a textbook. Okay, you need your tools. Be prepared for do your readings. You know what else? Take notes, folks. When you're sitting in class, there's no way, I know your brains are young and they work really well, but you have to take notes. God bless you. You have to take notes, because when it comes to test time 3 weeks later and you have 6 courses or 5 courses, how are you going to remember the content? Okay? Buy yourself a highlighter and mess up your book with highlighting. Take notes. And if you miss a class, find a buddy in school. Find a buddy and borrow their notes. Okay? Because without notes, you don't have anything to study from. So that's really important. And then a couple other things. Respect for the rules and regulations. Remember I talked to you about security? If you are a disruptive student, you will be given options. Because everyone that's sitting in their classroom has paid to be there, right? And they all have the right to have a classroom that is safe and secure to give the best learning environment. If you decide to be disruptive or rude to your instructor, you will be asked to leave. And if you leave, then you're going to miss the class. And if you refuse to leave, they will pick up the phone and call security. And they will have you leave. Okay? And those are all negative things. We like our classrooms to be happy places. Because you learn best when you're happy, right? So respect the rules, respect regulations. We pride ourselves in having faculty that we're there because we want to be there. Most of us have already had careers, and this is, we've chosen this career because we love to take all the stuff that we learned when we were working and now share it with you guys. Honesty and trust. When you walk in the door, we trust every single one of you, okay? But if you cheat on one test, the trust erodes. Plus, there's a penalty for that. And then if you're someone who habitually cheats, there is the option to be dismissed from the college. And what an embarrassment that would be.
Oh, yeah.
You've all signed up, I hope, for school, and you've chosen a program. You're 2 weeks into the program, you're 3 weeks into the program, and all of a sudden you think, oh my God, I cannot do this the rest of my life, okay? I want you to know that I have students all the time in my office that are on their second program, their third program, sometimes their fourth program. But the thing is to find the program that you like. So if you are in a program, I can give you a perfect example. My son graduated from university, did nothing with his degree. He did the paramedic program, and at the end of the paramedic program, said to me, Mom, I do not want to deal with sick people my entire life. After he finished. Now he's in power engineering. He loves it, he's finishing in 2 weeks, and he has a job. But it took him a few years and 3 programs to decide.
Receive extra time to write your exams. If you're entitled to use a computer to write them because you have some identified occupational therapy, fine motor skill issues, whatever it might be. There's such a variety that, you know, you need to speak with them and they will help you set up what you need to be successful. That's the key. Don't not use them. The tutoring, remember that key word? Free. Don't forget that. We love free. We all do, right? So please don't forget, it's there for you to use.